Hey guys, I want to tell you a story. So I guess it's story time. I was talking to one of my friends in Toronto. She lives in Toronto, and about uh, when I got back to Hamilton, a friend of mine I used to know from back in the day, like over 20 years ago. His name is Mark, and he lived in Hamilton. So when I got back, uh, I ran into another friend of mine. I went to high school with. He told me, "Oh, Mark is in St. Joseph's Hospital, and from I guess he was admitted because he's going through major mental illness episode or whatnot." And I said, "Oh, really? I didn't know." I felt bad, and I just said I want to visit him. So I contacted the hospital just to double check before I went to see if he's was admitted there or whatnot, because he didn't give me the information about what ward he was in. And so anyhow, I called and they told me they didn't have him, and which is really weird. They said, "Oh, they don't have him. He's not there." And I said to Mark Petersini, and said his name or whatnot. They said he's not there. Anyhow, to make the story short, I ran into him 2 days ago again, and he told me, "Mark, I talked to Mark, and Mark asked about you, and he's really misses you, and he says that where he lives. He says you know where he lives, and if you want to go visit him." And he forgot he had told me he was in a hospital, and now all of a sudden, he is in his old place in Hamilton, which is, I don't even remember what that is. I forgot. It's been over 20 years. How could I even remember something over 20 years? Where someone lived. I found it really odd for people to expect it to happen. Uh, but that's what's kind of find it bizarre. People have this expectation for you to remember where someone lived over 20 years. You know what I'm saying? Anyhow, the moral of the story is, this friend, why would you talk about me to someone when initially he told me he was in a mental institution, right? He told me he's in a mental institution and he's been admitted because he has severe mental illness. And all of a sudden he's in his house. It was very bizarre. And then he was talking to Mark about me, and Mark is like, "Oh, you need to come and visit me and whatnot." And so they're like talking. So I just said, "Okay, you have his address or phone number?" He goes like, "No, I changed phones. I do not remember." Which is very weird. The whole thing, the way he appeared is like very weird and bizarre, And for him to just show up and then he remember all of the things, and then he forget he had told me he was in two different places. Yeah. Okay. This is how the enemy operates. Uses people in your life who used to be in your life. We're not close. I didn't even know we went to high school together. He told me, it's like, "Oh, we went to high school together. You don't remember me?" It's like, "No, I don't." Anyhow, and then all of a sudden I don't know. He's like talking to me about he has been diagnosed with cancer and remission of, and they're giving him a year to live, and I told him, "Have you tried herbal medications and stuff?" And he's like, "No, the doctor told me there is no. It's an aggressive, and he might die, whatnot. There's nothing you could do." I said to him, "Have you tried? It's a lot of herbal stuff that you never know. At least if you, He says, "No, I accepted. I was given 1 year. I was given 1 year, and I'm just gonna enjoy my life, doing what I wanna do until my day comes or whatnot." And I said, he goes, I said to him, you never know. What harm could it do if you were given a year? And can't you try something, And he's like, "No, if it works, then you take it." That's what he tells me. But anyhow, he was just, I don't know, he's telling me things, and part of me, I do not believe. But anyhow, I'm just kind of taking it in. What people are telling you, you got to take it with a grain of salt, That's his story, he can, whatever. But his story doesn't add up. It just seemed like very bizarre. And because there's something else, it's personal. I'm not going to mention, but anyhow, that kind of was a red flag. How would he know? How would he know those things if he's not really working for the enemy? He's clearly working for the enemy, But hey, we all have free will, I cannot tell a person to work for who want to work for the enemy to not to work for the enemy, And I work for God. That's all that matters. I work for God, and if people do not want to join me in this fight, they can work for Satan if they want. It's up to them. We're all given that free will. So anyhow, to get back to just the whole thing, it doesn't really flow well. You know what I mean? I find it very bizarre, and and I said, it was kind of weird, the whole vibe, and when you have this gut feeling about something, and I was like talking to him, and I just kind of sensed like he's working for the enemy, and he kept talking to me about forgiveness and loving everyone. You understand? That's what I've been talking about on my channel, about and he's starting to preach to me about forgiveness because he's gonna die and he want to make peace with everybody. You know what I'm saying? That's exactly what the enemy sent him to talk to me about, which is, I don't really care. He's a person. I talk to God about this. I don't get persuaded to do anything I don't want to do. As I remember, I posted this today. I said, when the enemy needed the permission for them to attack me, why would you need my forgiveness then? Right? So that's wisdom, when you don't need you need my permission to attack me. Why would you need my forgiveness with my free will? Like I have to give it free and my own consciously, understand? So when you act like you don't care, but yet you want it. This person was just talking to me about forgiving everybody, loving everybody, and it's just all of a sudden, because anyhow, you know what? I listened and I dismissed it, And he can work for our enemy. We're all given that free will. You can go work for whoever you want to work for. Make the right decisions.